Well, hello, folks. This is the new Bern Now podcast, and this is episode 100. We are the Podsquad, broadcasting from the Isaac Taylor Building in historic downtown New Bern. We have an all-star cast today with your hosts, Wendy Card, Laura Johnson, Kathy Morrison, Lisa Bisbee Lenz, Susan Moffett Thomas, George Oliver, Colleen Roberts, and Rich Sheridan.
Just Tracy Stones. That's it.
And Tracy Stones.
Hi, Tracy.
Tracy! 100! Congratulations, Wendy Card!
Yay!
Well, I'm speechless. I just have to say I could not do any of it without all of you guys, and I really appreciate it, especially Laura Johnson, who joined me in the very beginning, and we realized that it was on March 12th, 2012, that we joined forces with Mike Aflerbeck at WNOS 103.9 FM, which is New Bern's news talk radio station, and we did radio segments. So, good. Thank you, guys. Woo! Podsquad.
Wow! Who's here?
Special guest.
Some well-dressed gentlemen.
Come on in, it's the Southern Gentlemen.
What?
Thanks for stopping by today. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
I'm Dave Parker, the president of the Southern Gentlemen Barbershop Chorus.
Jeremy Loray, singing lead.
John Daly, tenor. Randy Miller, I'm the secretary of the chorus, and I sing baritone.
Thanks for joining us.
Can we get you guys to come around here? We'll get you some microphones.
Sure.
Wendy shares love. All of this is all about love
There you
from
go.
Wendy.
Okay.
Number 100!
We're going to do sweet little, so
This little light of mine.
light of mine,
Uh-huh.
okay? This little light of mine. It's an A.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
Brother,
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. I've got a home in glory land that outshines the sun.
brother,
I've got a home in glory land that outshines the sun. I've got a home in glory land that outshines the sun, way beyond the blue. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
remember
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Gonna shine on me and shine on you. Gonna tell what the power of love can do. Gonna let my little light shine, my little light shine.
Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Good job, everybody.
And thank you, Wendy.
It's the Southern Gentlemen Chorus, folks. Thank you so much.
How do we get in touch with you guys if we want to?
We have a card. I'll drop you off a card.
Give us a number, give us an email address, give us something.
How about a website?
Yeah,
NewbernBarbershop.com.
there you go.
When the podcast started, after we bought the mixer, we went to Fuller's Music, and they advised us how to hook everything up. And they're a great resource in town, so, you know, it truly does take our community coming together. Everyone has their own little talents, and I just want to say thank you for everything. And thanks, Rich, for the surprise.
Yeah.
I really love that song, This Little Microphone of Mine. I just thought that was such an appropriate song.
And speaking of microphones, I'm just gonna pause for a second.
And I just want to thank every single one of you in here for being here for New Bern Now and the podcast and New Bern Now and everything that it does. For times I couldn't be here, you all filled in, and every single one of you have your own special thing that you bring to this that makes people want to listen and makes me not mind hearing it 27,000 times over the weekend
During the editing?
during the editing. So I just want to say thank you to everybody, because you all make it possible also. So here we go.
You wanna announce them? Lisa Bisbee Lentz.
And this one's for Lisa. This
Oh my goodness.
Speech!
I want to thank my mom and
Oh, you didn't, oh, Lisa, speak into the microphone.
I want to thank my mom and my dad
You're
and
wireless.
could have done this without all of you. Thank you very much.
Wireless mics.
And I love Wendy and Laura and NewBernNow.com.
Wendy.
Don't forget to thank the Academy.
But they tagged
The
me.
Academy.
That's so funny. I love this.
That's awesome.
Wow. I wonder how many Larry King has of those. He bet he's got a few.
None from here.
None from here.
I'm from New Bern Now.
That's
All
right.
right, everyone. This one is for Rich.
Yay! Rich, how's the weather looking?
This little mic of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little mic of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
Wow, Wendy, you're so cool.
That's genius.
And this one, Susan Moffett.
Yay!
Susan Moffett,
A joy to be with you, and I'm not going to thank my mom. I'm going to thank Wendy. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
She probably talks loud into the big microphone.
George Oliver.
Guess what?
I can't hear you.
I need to speak up in the mic.
Speak up louder.
now?
Thank you so much. So
Louder.
I was not here for the first podcast. When was it? Was it 2012? Is that what
Or
she said?
2014.
14.
2014
Yeah,
we
the
started.
podcast was 2014, radio was 2012.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad to be a part of the group,
That
guys.
wasn't much of a speech, George Oliver.
No.
Howard Roberts.
Don't we all look so good for 100?
Yeah!
Yeah.
Now,
Reporting
you
live
know
from City
it was
Hall.
Wendy.
That's it.
Signing off.
That's right.
Oh, they are on.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
What's that?
No,
They're all in the on position.
Yeah.
And
Live.
here's Laura Johnson.
Laura Johnson.
And you can give this to Clayton.
Oh, Clayton!
Cheek.
Clayton's in the bottom as well. Let's get a cheer for him.
Yeah.
Oh, there it
And
is.
last but not least,
Kathy Larson.
Candy this way.
Speech.
Sally Fields.
So 2014,
we didn't forget about you.
2014 was the first podcast, and it was, I'm seeing June 12th of 2014.
Yes.
Rich, what were you doing
Oh my
on June
goodness. Why
12th
me
of
first?
2014? Just because you're there, you got 2 microphones, you got a third.
No, that was when publishing was really big. You know, we had the ledger going, and I was thrilled to be invited to come and day. You know, we started the day tripping right in 2015. It gave me an opportunity to talk a little bit about Discovery Map, talk about all the great events that are happening at the Crystal Coast. So I was busy with my map. Wendy was very busy with the ledger. It just made a lot of sense to start a podcast, and I'm thrilled to be part of it.
Whose
Very
idea
cool.
was day tripping?
I think
it
Wendy
was-
coined the day tripping. I think that term came from Wendy.
Well,
Very
you're
cool.
the one that goes day tripping.
I do
so-
put a couple miles on
Yeah,
my,
you did.
on my Subaru.
Colleen, what were you doing June 12th of 2014?
You know, just a few months before June, I met
for the first time, Tom Meeson from Sleepy Hollow.
Oh,
Which
okay.
is still on my Facebook page. He is so cute. In the fall of 13, Sleepy Hollow was filming, of course, here in New Bern, there at the Palace, and we had gotten to go over there and watch some of the filming at night, hang out with the PD who was, doing security for the whole production, and a few months later when he was visiting New Bern, I got to meet him, and I tried to take him home with me. So that was a highlight of my 2014. A few months before the podcast, but that counts, right?
It totally counts.
Well, I have a Sleepy Hollow story because back during that time, they actually came here and bought 3 really scary looking paintings and 3 creepy face jugs from
Awesome.
Bern Offord.
Yeah.
And they used them in the episode.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's a
Very
little
cool.
bit of New Bern in there. Well, more of New Bern now with the
Yeah.
Palace and New Bern now.
New Bern
Yeah, I did that strategically, Wendy.
Look.
That was one of the things I was doing. Let's see. I actually took notes. You said do your research,
Right.
so I listened.
Yeah.
And I had gotten back in the winter of that year, January, February. I returned to a love of hiking. So I had gotten back from a big hike in Linville Gorge, North Carolina, of Hawksbill Mountain, and so that's kind of what I was doing in 2014. Oh, and I had a 1-year-old German Shepherd that I was trying to train. So
Is the German Shepherd trained now, 4 years later?
yes.
Okay, good.
When she's around Mama, when she's
There you
around
go.
Daddy, give me a snack. Sure, I'll listen to you. Give me a treat. What were you doing, George?
Let's see, June of 14. We had opened our law firm about 5 years prior to that, after leaving another firm in town, and it was before, it was right after we moved downtown, before I had rediscovered theater with my children, before trying improv, before putting our family band together. So it's kind of a lot of things have happened in our life in that period of time. So
You've been busy.
I was mostly probably being a lawyer, I guess.
That's right, when you were working.
Right,
That's what lawyers
exactly.
do.
Yeah, that's right. But it's been a lot of fun doing the podcast and getting to know all you guys. And, it's something I always look forward to every 2 weeks. I haven't used it as a reason to continue a hearing yet, because I don't know if the judges would share my enthusiasm. But that's coming. That day's coming. What about you, Susan? What were you doing in June of 14?
Well, in June of 14, I made the decision to retire from Swiss Bear, and I gave my notice in June that I would be leaving at the end of December. I knew in 6 months I could complete all the projects that I had, on the books. The ship hauling machine, a little park in Duffy Field, of course Mumfest, but also my real obsession was to be able to digitize all the minutes and records at Swiss Bear. And I had saved them since '79.
Wow.
And I felt I had. But
We
I
thought I
felt
was
it
a
was such an
big
important part of New Bern's history, I was afraid if they weren't saved. And actually, Mark West volunteered, and we went through all the files and digitized all of that information and gave copies to the library locally, ECU, Chapel Hill, I just spent that next 6 months making sure that I could complete and get funding for the ship hauling machine and the little park, and it ended. The year ended with a fabulous retirement breakfast, and I just was very pleased that I could end on a high note with a career that really produced tangible, immeasurable things for New Bern. So that last 6 months was really fabulous.
Well, it's hard to believe you're actually retired because you haven't stopped being as busy as you were then, I'm sure. Lisa, what were you doing in June of 2014? Were you in this building by then?
I was in this building in 2013.
Okay.
I was painting and art crawl and Bohemian Artist New Bern and Community Artist Will and New Bern Now and MJ's Raw Bar and There were a
And-
couple other things in there.
And you did not sleep that
And I
good.
did not sleep. I was up until 2 a.m. and I was here at 5 and sometimes 3 a.m. And Bill, the guy who was living across that parking lot, he actually saw me here at 3 a.m. He said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I gotta get this thing going. I gotta get it
Doing
going.
everything.
I'm
Yeah.
doing everything." And anyway, I really appreciate Laura and Wendy for doing New Bern Now because it really helped promote the arts in our community. And without them, I just don't think it would have flourished because we had no other source of funds to pay for advertising. And this was absolutely free. And from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate both of you very much. So thank you for that opportunity.
Woo! Woo! We appreciate you, Lisa.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ain't gonna make-
I mean, look at this place.
The home of the podcast, right here in the Greater Good Gallery, the Isaac Taylor House.
Yes, and Lisa, this place, I mean, when you started that art crawl, things just took off after that. So I really credit that idea. And I know there was art walk already, but it was a different kind of,
It was different because it wasn't just the galleries, it was about the people. And the people were demonstrating their talents. And so when the people demonstrate their talents, people are very curious. Well, how are
Yes.
you making that? What are you doing? How did you sing that key? What instrument is that? I've
Right.
never seen that before. And then you get to be engaged with these conversations, and people support other people. They
Right.
support
Yep.
people.
Their neighbors.
Their
the people
neighbors.
that they live
It's a
near around.
community. And so when we had all those artists out in the Isaac Taylor Garden, all of a sudden 600 people came to the event. And I said, whoa, okay, we got to spread this all across New Bern because, and I said, guess what? Half of you aren't invited next time. You have to find another spot. And sure enough, they did. They went to Artisan Square. They went to the BTM. They went to Bear Plaza. They went to James Reed Lane. All these artists, all these creative people scattered everywhere. And that's when the whole thing blew up. I mean, it was like
Yep.
creative blown.
you nailed it. You
Yeah.
nailed it.
You did, and you know, the wonderful part too was taking on the Isaac Taylor House and
Right.
developing it so it could be a venue for all these events. It's really fantastic, in addition to your gallery.
You've done a wonderful job in this house. I was in here in 2010, trying to get it presentable for an event, and it was far from presentable. And you have done a wonderful job, because now it is beautiful.
It is. Yeah. Kathy, what were you doing in June of 2014?
I was probably just kind of plugging away at historical society stuff, and Laura was interviewing me over the phone, I think. Sometimes she came to see me, and we were doing interviews about Ghost Walk and all the things that we do, and I want to add my 2 cents to say thank you again.
I actually was working on a secret project which is starting to come to light, and I'm proud to say it looks like it's going to come to light. Space Force.
So is it, obviously, we're not gonna hear what the
Sign me
secret is.
You know what's so neat about these podcasts, guys? It's always fun and lighthearted and just good-natured, and we're just spreading information in the community about good things going on. And it's not snarky. It's not, there's never any. It's not hard-hitting news in a world of things that are just kind of spiraling all the time. It's nice to have a place to go and just talk about good things going on and invite people in to talk about whatever they're passionate about. So it really fulfills a need in the community, Wendy, Laura.
And you know, the other thing I think that is important is when it started out, it was very positive. It has continued to be very positive about all the good things that are happening in the community. But it's also been a time when the arts and culture have grown,
Right.
and all the different events. So we have been able to really promote that too by, by letting people know all these good things that are out here. So it really, it has just been, I'm sure, a great happening for the whole community.
Somebody's here.
Who's it?
Who's at the door?
Wait, it's Tracy Stone! Tracy, we have been talking about how this is the 100th episode of the podcast. And we've gone around the room and everybody's talking about what they were doing in June of 2014 when it started. So what was going on in your life back then, maybe things that have changed between then and now, for example, things you're doing to promote artists and things like that?
It's been a very exciting year, actually, for me. The blog has just gotten over the last year so much recognition, and I've branched out so much as far as being a writer as well. So
In 2014, were you doing the blog?
I started the blog. March 2014.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's
And that was
started
like my
that.
first offerings, and then I wrote about Bill Lyerly was the first blog offering. And then it wasn't anything regular until 2015. And now, wow. Now it's like by demand. There's no turning back.
It keeps you busy. Yeah.
There's no turning back. So, but that's good because there's a lot of live music, and what I found is if somebody puts the effort into promoting it, more will come.
Right.
You know, it's like the Field of Dreams. And this is my dream, is to promote music. I mean, that's my favorite thing to do.
If you were to compare what the local music scene was like back in 4 years ago versus now, I mean, what would you say?
Okay, George, let me just say that when I moved here in 2000, actually tomorrow, which actually, you know, never mind.
On
Anyway,
the 10th?
On the 10th, it will be 13 years that I moved here.
Okay.
And when I moved down here, I lived right outside New York City where there was a plethora of music every day of the week. And I came here and I was sitting in the Ice House over there on Trent Road listening to karaoke every other Saturday and wanting to put forks in my ears.
I was probably sitting next to you.
It might have been.
Wendy was up there singing.
I mean,
Oh, give us a taste of what you were singing that night, Wendy.
Actually, Tracy, I think I was singing.
you might have been, Wendy, and I'm sorry, but you don't understand. I have a personal thing with karaoke. As a band manager in the 90s, it nearly put me out of business.
Oh.
So, you know, it's painful to go and support it even still.
Gotcha.
And that's just a personal thing because I really was in the business of booking bands. And what's sad is that the rates haven't increased much over the last 20 years. Bands are still getting paid pretty much on the local level what they were 20 years ago. And I want to change that. I mean, that's a mission for sure because it's not, okay, I understand it's almost like, you know, starting out as a teenager, but these people are supporting their families and we need to recognize that, so, and that's important.
Tracy, you missed the award ceremony.
I'm sorry. Oh my goodness, thank you. We all can see it.
You have to speak into that microphone. Look at
We're recording over there.
Look, look. Woohoo!
We're so glad that you joined the Pod Squad and Bern Now's team as an entertainment writer, music writer, and everything that you do with NCMZ Live, Tracy Stone's production. We're really lucky. So
I'm really lucky to be a part of y'all. Y'all share so much information with the community that, you know, it's very necessary for us all to get together and share what we know.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Truly.
And you've all been doing a wonderful job, and I'm just glad to be a part of it. I'm a very small part of it. I've only been included in the last 3 episodes, but boy, I hope to do 100 more with y'all.
all right, woo!
We'll take you.
Yeah.
Take you up on that.
That's it.